Hey, what's up everybody? We're going to talk about Bitcoin and the crypto charts, and I want to show you Nvidia. This interesting fractal is developing. Nvidia is the largest stock in the world, and basically the whole move is this right here. I mean, that was pretty much what put Nvidia on the map. I mean, from what, 25 cents all the way up to, what is that, almost $100 or so. I mean, it's insane. But the thing is how did this move start? This is the whole chart in one picture, in one frame, right? So in one chart. Okay, so this whole move here came from this structure right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at this structure and we're gonna try to figure out, is this structure happening in crypto? And if it is, could we get some massive rally? Maybe not this big, of course, right? This took many, many years, but maybe it would kick off a new super cycle, right? But it would have to be pretty compelling. This is the weekly chart, and I'm telling you right now, there's nothing in crypto that looks like this on the weekly chart. However, when we look at like the 4-hour chart, right, on Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you that just in a second, but just take a mental screenshot of this. We're going down, we have a three-way pullback, we come up, and look at this unique shape. It's like an M right here. You can see it. So let me zoom in right here. We come down, right? Boom, boom, right? We have that divergence, and then we kind of kick off. We start drifting up, and then mega launch, right? So it was kind of like, you know, a rise, crash, retrace. We went down into reaccumulation. Now we're going sideways, right? I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I look for, right? Is are the phases complete, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then blast off. That's exactly what happened for Nvidia, which led to one of the biggest, if not the biggest, stock bull runs in human history. I mean, this chart is insane. Basically, Nvidia, I think they do the computer chips and the GPUs and stuff like that. So I guess that would make sense. So let's look at Bitcoin now. And let's go to the 4-hour chart. And I want you to look at that right there. So right off the bat, I'm thinking, okay, this looks kind of like the same thing we just saw, isn't it? And I'm going to put them side by side so we can see it a little better. But, you know, we had this kind of rise, this crash. We have this three-wave retracement. We came down, right? And then you can kind of see the little M shape, right? What we just talked about, that little M shape there. We had that divergence. Maybe this is popping up here, and we kind of go sideways and then kind of drift and take off. So that would be kind of like what Nvidia did, right? So if that's the case, then this thing could probably have a fifth wave, because that's really the big thing, right? Is this going into a fifth wave expansion, which will ultimately carry the altcoins with it, right? Because really the main idea is that this is A, this whole thing is B, and this is C. And this is some kind of diagonal or some sort of move that gets us out of here. The other idea is simply saying, well, this is a complex WXY. So we have 3 here, right? We have 3 here, and now we're getting 3 here. So 3, 3, and then 3 down. So WXY, right? And if we get something like that, where we come down here and we can back test, you know, maybe between 43, or actually, let me just put a zone here, somewhere in this zone, right? So that's still on the table. But here's the thing, if we get something like this, that would still qualify as a fourth wave, and we you know, we wouldn't have to necessarily go down into reaccumulation, right? So basically one more low it would have this finish this Y wave and then continue in that fifth wave. So we would have 1, 2, 3, and you can see A, B, C, or W, X, Y, right? 3, 3, 3 gets us down here to the buy zone, and that between 44 and 47K. You definitely don't want to break below 40, so it's got to be in this zone. Now if we do that and we kind of come up and we get rejected, we start coming down, we come back up, right? This is going to be reaccumulation. Then this is no longer a fourth wave. This is a crash, right? This is not a correction. It's a crashing structure that takes us down between 30 and 40K into reaccumulation, right? So that could be also on the table. But in my opinion, I think this is a fourth wave, and we're going to get a fifth wave to the upside. The big question is this low going to hold, right? Is the low in, and can we start to see it, making progress, getting up here, flagging out a little bit, and then breaking out? Or is this a Y wave? So W, X, Y, and then we can break out. So those are the two bullish outcomes. One suggests that the low is in and we're going to continue higher. The next one is we just got to complete this three-wave move, get down here, then continue higher. So let's take a look at that Nvidia chart again. All right, let me just put that kind of side by side so you can see that, right? And here's the Nvidia chart, and once again, right, you could have this crash, and then you kind of come up in this retracement, you come back down without taking this low out necessarily, and then boom, boom, kind of go flat a little bit, right? Kind of have that curvature look to it, and then start to continue on in one of the largest runs in stock market history. Okay, so when we look at that, now look at Bitcoin. Dun, dun, dun. Wow. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, guys? Here it is side by side. You can kind of look at it here. So just pause the video and take a look. So anyways, we have Bitcoin, right? We have the crash, we have the crash. We have the three-wave move up, we have the three-wave move up. And then we come slamming back down, right? We come slamming back down, and that's what we did also here. Now, it's going to be a little bit tricky to see, so I'm going to have to kind of zoom in as best as I can without taking it out of the picture here. So you can kind of see that move down, the move down, right? And then we have this little move back up. We have this move back up, right? And actually these, I don't think these took the low. I think these were all bottoms here. This took a little bit of the low and another bit of the low here. So if we can start going sideways in here like this, it's going to kind of give me a little bit of a warm and fuzzy feeling like, hey, maybe this has a chance at being, similar and in their fractal nature, and that we can get that fifth wave. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to do what Nvidia did. It's not going to do that. This is the 4-hour chart. This is the weekly chart, right? This is years and years, right? This is like a couple weeks, maybe a month. So we have to scale it that way, so that it's not going to be if we do get the big expansion, it's not going to be what Nvidia did, of course. Maybe in percentage terms, possibly for a lot of altcoins, but yeah, there it is side by side. So this is, again, not to say it's going to do that. We're just trying to figure out if there's any confluence to the bullish thesis, right? There's a bearish thesis. We go down into reaccumulation. Then there's the bullish thesis where we continue correcting and we go into that fifth wave. Or we have a more complex WXY and we hit make a new low and then go up, it would still technically qualify as a fourth wave. Right? So yeah, let's see. I mean, I really like this spot right there, and I like this right in here, right? And then we can see after that, right, sideways. So let's see if we go sideways this week or catch our footing here. If we start breaking down, then obviously we can invalidate it, and we can say that's a no bueno, right? So at the end of the day, that's what I'm going to be looking for, is going sideways. So let's move on. Okay, so here's the live chart. We have bullish divergence like we talked about yesterday. We shot to the upside, but then we had this 4-hour engulfing candle that took us right back to the low here, which is not really a good sign. We got a lot of, seems like, selling pressure. And the reason I brought up Nvidia, I guess because the DOJ subpoenaed, so yeah, I think the reason I was looking at Nvidia, because the DOJ, I guess they gave them a subpoena, right? So that's kind of interesting. It's like, why would they do that right before the election? That's kind of weird. That's what I was reading on Zero Hedge. That's interesting strategy. But yeah, as far as some ideas here, well, like I was saying yesterday, this could be 3 up, right, which is your W, and then we get this move up, we come back down, this is your X, and then we come back up and take the top out, and here's your Y, right? So that is what I'm looking for if we do break the low. Right now, if we start impulsing, retesting as resistance, impulsing, retesting as then I'm going to look for this low to be broken, and I'm going to look for this being a 3-wave move like that, right? Which is our Y wave. So W, X, Y. So that's really what it comes down to for Bitcoin here. So the small time frames, not really interesting. I mean, we kind of had a little bit of a 5-wave move up. You can see kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an A, B, C. But it came down pretty dang deep, and this is pretty impulsive here. This might be a leading diag, get a 3-way pullback, and maybe we can get back up here and retest the retracement levels, and then we can decide from there, okay, up or down. But you know, if this 1, 2, 3, 4, if this turns into 5 and we break the low, then obviously this is not finished yet. This wave that we're in now, which basically has started back, I would say right here, about August 26th. So, and here we are. I think that's, okay, yeah, never mind. So I want to see the Bitcoin price obviously break this trend here, and like I was saying with that Nvidia fractal, come on, why is it doing that? So as I was saying with that Nvidia fractal, we don't want this to be sloping anymore. We want it to now, like I said, start going sideways in here, right? Start developing a base. You know, you can see, if you look at it from a curve, like the sell side of the curve, right? And then it's kind of rounding out, bottoming out, and then you get that buy side of the curve. So you're going to get all of this, right? And that's kind of the idea, what we're looking for. So I think that should do it for Bitcoin. I'm going to be looking for this low to hold right in here. We want this to hold, right? If that area breaks, then I'm looking at this basically 3 up, 3 down, and basically instead of WXY, instead of the X going up, the X could be maybe some kind of like a triangle or something, where it doesn't give you that retracement. It kind of just bounces around in here and then comes down. It could be a flat, could be a triangle or whatever, but essentially getting us down to the 618 at 54. So between 53, or actually between 54 and 55K. Yeah, so right in here. And that's probably where we're headed if this structure breaks down. So we'll find out. We'll see. If we start breaking to the upside, it could still come back down here, right? It could still do something like that. So I would definitely, if I'm a hodler, if I'm dollar cost averaging, I would definitely put some money aside, and with the anticipation of it coming down here, right? Because if we get 3 up and 3 down, then I'm looking for a good trade back to the upside. So I think that's where the trade will be. Not financial advice, I could be wrong. So let's look at XRP. Now, XRP is, to me, a lot sort of different. I mean, because we don't have those structures, a lot of those structures in which we see a lot of altcoins have, right? So here's kind of like a channel here. You know, we were going up, and now what goes up comes down, and what comes down comes up, usually, historically, right? But for XRP, you know, I'm still looking at this bullishly. The reason why is because I can't get over the fact of this 3-wave move. I mean, this right here is this right here is textbook. Boom, 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 right? Now C might be down here. See, the thing is that's kind of what I'm looking at, right? But it could, right, if Bitcoin wanted to, like I said, go down into that that X wave, then or that Y wave, right, then we could see an extended C wave. So, but it could be a flat and it could be finished. We do have some bullish divergence here. It's not really strong, but it's decent. It's decent. So again, what are we going to look for? Well, we want to get this high broken here at about 57 cents. So I'm just looking at this as a range, right? So far we have a double bottom. You know, it's a slightly lower low, which is okay, but still about like a double bottom. We have a double top here. So right now we're consolidating. Down, up, down, up. So I want to see this build a base, and I want to see this come back up into a retracement. And if it goes up correctively, then, you know, it might be a triangle, right? It might be something like that, where we have like A, B, C, D, and then we get E, right? We get some kind of triangle in here and then breakout. So that could be something to look for as well. But if this starts to break down, then we want to look for an extended C. Now, if we start breaking this low, then it's like, okay, now we just have to totally look at it from a different perspective here. But by that time, we would probably already have an idea, right? Because if this is 3 down and this is 3 up, and this is another 3 down, right? So you have a W, X, and a Y. I'm thinking, you know, the next move is up, right? I mean, that's what you would imagine. So, but we do have a trend here. So I would put that trend line right there. And I would say, okay, if this is an A, B, and a C, it could be a flat, or we could come down here and tag this trend line around 50 cents and then start to break out, right? So basically those are the two main ideas that I have right now, is allowing this 3-wave move to finish, because the larger time frames are still bullish in my opinion. I think this whole wave, I mean, we've been correcting for the last year, right? This is a 1-year 3-wave move. So right here is summer of last year. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C. So A, B, C. I mean, that's your 3-wave move that lasted for a whole year, right? And this right here is an impulse. And this right here is like a back test or a retest, right? So you break out and you can see we back tested, and now right here, the small time frames, we're looking at that 3-wave move. So I'm thinking, okay, this thing's getting ready. I think it's getting primed here. Now, of course, it's all dependent on the stock market. It's all dependent on the environment. It's all dependent on Bitcoin. I mean, it's all, you got unemployment numbers coming out, you know, the interest rates, the dollar. I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong, right? But as far as the chart goes, the chart is set up, right, to do what it needs to do. But as far as those other factors, if the environment is set, I think we have a really good chance at breaking out here. Because the whole chart has been in reaccumulation for what, 2 years or 3 years? Oh yeah, it was 2 years. Let me get to the other XRP chart if I can find it. Right there. Right? So yeah, these 2 yellow boxes here are reaccumulation, and we've been doing that for 2 years. Right? Now, if you look back over here, same kind of deal going on for XRP, right? So let me let's go to the 2-week chart here. Or I'll go to the 2-week chart in a second. The 2-month chart, you can see we got 20 bars, right? And up here, we have 40 bars, and that 40 bars is complete. So now we have 2 months for that 40th bar to close. So if this is taking twice as long as this structure, because again, this whole structure led to this massive rally, just like how that Nvidia structure, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's about these massive mega rallies. That's what we want to, that's the wave we want to ride, right? So we have to figure out what happened before that wave took place, just like what, with Nvidia, right? So we want to see ultimately this thing break out as it did before. So again, if this is 20 bars and this is 40 bars, I mean, from a time analysis perspective, I think it should be right around that 40 bar mark for the 2-month chart. So let's scale it down to the, let's go to the 2-week chart. And you can see everything from the rise, the bear market, right? This bottoming structure in here, right? The liquidity grab, the retracement, the peak, right, coming down into reaccumulation, have that first yellow box of reaccumulation, step up the ladder, have the second box, same thing here, first box, second box, then come down for a big dump to the downside, big liquidity grab. So if you can look closely, we had a couple of those liquidity grabs right in there. So is that sufficient enough? Well, I guess we'll find out. And then it led to a big rally. So that's kind of what we're looking for. So, you know, when you look at the structure from a time perspective, I mean, we're right there. I mean, we're actually crossing the mark. I mean, you can kind of play around with it a little bit. So there's always the risk that, you know, you just slide this over one, and then, you know, you still have to come back down for one more wave. And I just can't really see that, because I'm not sure if that was the case. Obviously, we would see a Bitcoin crash. We would see a Bitcoin dump down to 40K or something like that that would cause that to happen. But traditionally, the fractal's been sort of right here from a time perspective, right? So you can kind of see what was going on here at the time. We had this sort of 1 2 1 2, a pretty big pump up, right? So is this a 1 2 and a 1 2, and hopefully we get that pump up? I mean, it's possible. We just have to wait and see. So for theta, you know, theta is still down here at the lows. Like I said, we're probably trying to build a base here for the price of theta. So as long as we stay above this low, I think it's got a good chance getting back up here in the retracement levels. Let's zoom in here and look at it. So yeah, it's potentially a double bottom going on here for theta, or it could be an extended third and we're now in the fourth. 1 2, all of that's 3. This is a flat for 4, and now this is 5. I mean, yeah, that's a different way to count it, and I can see that happening. And then this is 1 2 3 4, and then 5. So we really need the low to come in here, and or this is going to look too impulsive, right? So I'm you know, we have all this support in here, so I'm sure, I mean, I'm pretty sure that we can hold in here for a little while. And then once we get some definition, once we get some structure, like we could say, okay, that's a triangle, or that's got you know, some legs, an impulse, or whatever, we can then have more conviction that this thing's going to come up into a retracement, right? It could still be a WXY later on, but at least we want to get that retracement here. So anyway, we're down here waddling at support. Nothing really interesting right now. Not really exciting. Let's see if we can find anything else. Ethereum. Let's see, XRP versus, so like XRP versus Ethereum's doing pretty alright right now. XRP versus Bitcoin. Yeah, it's actually looking pretty bullish here for XRP versus Bitcoin. I mean, I like it a lot. Look at this. You have this impulse, and we have this 3-wave pullback. Perfect. And then we have this another impulse from a smaller degree, 1 2 3 4 5, right? And then potentially a 3-wave pullback. And then we have, this could be a 1 2 1 2, or this could be 1 and this is ABC, like a running flat. And now this is a 1 2, and we're getting ready to get back up here. right? And this could be part of a three-wave move or a retracement. So let's look for that. And bearish, to look at it bearishly, you could say that, you know, this is an impulse down with a three-wave pullback, and we got another wave to the downside. So we would be kind of like trailing down before breaking out. I think XRP versus Bitcoin is in a very interesting spot. I mean, if you look at the 4-day chart, I mean, we pretty much had this nice double bottom here. We had this impulse to the upside, and look at all of that open space, right? You have point A, point B. I mean, you got a lot of open space up here, right? So you have all of this right up in here. So my target is getting back up here, and I believe that will happen. Now, could this be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yes, it could. And then get back up there? Yes, but we'll know that before, because we're going to see how it reacts in here. But ultimately, right, I mean, it's been following this trend line pretty nicely here. You can see right about there. So low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And then obviously you got your downward resistance line here. So it's all coming into this apex, right? I mean, we've been coiling up in here for a while. So what's going to happen here is going to be critical, because I think ultimately this line's going to break and we're going to get back up here into the retracement levels. So we'll see how all that plays. Let's see here. Anything else? Now, when I look at SHIB, it's just simply back testing here. Basically, we got to hold these lows. VeChain. Yeah, I don't like VeChain. It looks too bearish. It looks like there's more downside to go on VeChain. Okay, yeah, that's why. Because we broke the low here. Right? We had a three-way pullback, and now it's just impulsing to the downside. So that's not a good sign for altcoins. Same thing with Filecoin. It's just kind of like impulsing. I mean, we don't have any correct, like you can see this is correction right here. See how it comes down, then back up, then back down. It's oscillating. This is just straight down. So that's how you know this thing's not done. Something's going on internally here. CRV. Let's see. You can see CRV actually. Look at all this bullish divergence here forming, but it could be easily taken out as well. But you can see one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty decent right there. So this is, you know, this is basically a trader's arena. I mean, basically hodlers, you know, it's kind of boring. But for traders, kind of getting in, getting back out, it's pretty, it's been pretty interesting. Yeah, I think CRV can definitely use a bounce to the upside. I mean, that might be a good long right here. Not financial advice. At least for a bounce, take your profit, right? And then reevaluate. So anyway, zooming in, kind of like the smaller time frames here on CRV, it kind of looks like, you know, you had a low, a slightly lower low. We had bullish divergence on the higher time frame. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing gets a little bit of a bounce here. You can maybe come down here, take that liquidity, come back up, right, and then reevaluate. So that's actually what I'm going to be doing today, is kind of seeing if I can trade this here. I would consider short, but I want to see kind of like a three-wave move, maybe like a shooting star or something like that to give me that signal. We can come back down. But yeah, CRV looks pretty interesting for a potential trade, short-term trade. For Matic, yeah, I like Matic too, because we kind of have this triple bottom going on. So you have a bottom here, a bottom here, right, and a bottom here. So obviously, you know, this is getting kind of compressed. But you also have lower lows, so it could be maybe like a descending triangle here. So 1 hour chart. You know, maybe something like that. And then you have your triangle here. So we get back up here to the downward resistance line, and that's kind of where CRV gets that little bump, and then bam, you break the low, right? And then the measured move approximately, you know, 37 cents or so. And I think that would finish that move, right? So like a 1, 2, 3, and then you have a fourth wave triangle. You break the low, have that fifth wave, right? Hopefully get more pretty strong divergence between the third and the fifth. Kind of build a base in here, and then hopefully get back rolling into those retracement levels. So this has got to work itself out in here. Until then, we just have to wait and see, but it could be a nice short opportunity if we break below that. Or this could be some kind of, you know, kind of like a triple bottom here. I mean, we got some pretty strong divergence here. Let me see the 4 hour chart. Yeah, so right there, right there. Now, we could come back up and come back down again, and we have triple divergence, like I just said, that triangle here. So look out for that. But other than that, it's kind of like a depressing, boring time in the market here. I mean, ADA is getting hammered. Just lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, right? So this is just sort of impulsing down like it was back over here. Now, they all have that look, right? They all have that look, right? How they came down like this, they slam down, and then they have the three wave move, and then they dump, right? Fetch a little bit here. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be like fetch was looking interesting because it could be like an A, B, C, right? So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, 4, and then 5. I mean, it looks pretty decent for that. But a lot of coins have that same look. The drop, and then the three wave pump, and then the impulse down, right? Same thing, drop, three wave move, impulse down. Theta Fuel, drop, three wave move, impulse down. So, like Filecoin, they're all the same, except for what? XRP. XRP is not looking like that at all. Instead, we have this super sharp move up, and we have a three-way pullback. So XRP looks by far more bullish than all of them. So that's why it's a little bit conflicting a little bit here. So anyways, we'll see how this plays out. That doesn't mean XRP is going to do anything, because if the rest of the market is saying down, like, I mean, just look at Ethereum Classic, right? We had a three-way move up, pushed back down. So I don't know if XRP, even though XRP is kind of like in a prime position, the rest of the market's kind of weighing it down a little bit here. So we're just going to have to allow more time to pass and get more structure, get more data, and see what this thing is doing. Because a lot of times when it's not quite clear, then that means it's not finished. And if it's not finished, then we need to wait and see. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Look out for the C wave 1, 2, 3. This could be a flat here for a wave 4, and then we get wave 5. So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, get 4, and then get 5. So that would be A, B, C. Get down here and back test that area around 51.50 cents here, right? I mean, this could be a good long opportunity, so we might need a little bit more down. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, that'll do it. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and if you can, hit that like, hit subscribe if you haven't already, drop a comment, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you. Cheers.